What's up, gamers? Welcome to Minimalist Video Gamer. My name is Ben. Spring is upon us. We're getting our yards ready, firing up the grill, and maybe even taking a weekend trip. You might even be planning your next vacation, a break from the day-to-day, a time to relax, visit a new place, or catch up at one of your favorite getaways. When we were kids, packing a Game Gear or Game Boy in our luggage was pretty standard. We weren't inundated with screens on every electronic device. We didn't have access to thousands of games, TV shows, or movies while riding in the backseat of our parents' car. So in a way, it kind of made sense. But does it still? Over the past few years, I've come to terms with the fact that packing a gaming console just isn't necessary. When my kids were still in diapers, I remember packing handheld consoles on several different trips, none of which I would ever use. The little downtime I had was spent talking to my wife, playing with my kids, or just laying on the bed in the hotel room watching cartoons. After each trip, I remember thinking, why did I even pack this? So I stopped. Years later, as my kids grew older and gained access to their own devices, I figured, what's the big deal? I did it when I was a kid. However, the truth is, things change. What we did as kids doesn't necessarily have to be what our kids do. So after a long weekend spent at a house on the lake, I stopped letting my kids pack any game consoles. I had noticed on that trip that we were almost burdened by the 3DS we packed, held back by the Game Boy Color I tossed in my backpack. I mean, here we were on a vacation, a time to rest and relax, a time to explore someplace new. Yet we're drawn to these devices that are really just a distraction. At home, they're a distraction from the mundane, a way to escape the stress of our everyday lives. So why take them with us when we actually have escaped our everyday lives? You might think to yourself, well, I don't have kids, this doesn't pertain to me. Doesn't it though? Can't we all gain more value from our lives if we just don't pack that video game system? This doesn't mean we don't have access to video games while we're on vacation. It just gives us more time to focus on what's important. A couple years ago, my family and I stayed at a resort in a small lake town. With no gaming consoles, I could tell my kids were getting antsy. Just the thought of not bringing their Nintendo Switch made them anxious. That is until they saw the arcade. The arcade tucked away in the corner of the resort. The arcade that was about the size of a one-car garage. The arcade that we spent about an hour in one night on our vacation just playing games together. They didn't have their face buried away in a 5-inch screen. They laughed together, we laughed together. We played random arcade games, won a few stuffed animals. We spent time together. Time well spent. Now there is a caveat. We have phones. We do own an iPad, so we do still have access to the games. It's just not a major part of our vacation. We don't stress about packing our Switch and those tiny $60 game cartridges. In fact, on our recent trip to Disney World, humble brag, I noticed between my two kids, they spent maybe an hour on the iPad over the course of 5 days. Instead, they spent time with family they don't see often, taking spur-of-the-moment trips to town, walking around the resort, and just being in the moment. And that's the point I'm trying to make. We owe it to ourselves to truly enjoy our vacations, embrace a new city, really rest and relax. Try something new. Take a minute to remember what's actually important. Hey, when you take your next trip, maybe you'll have one less thing to pack. After all, that save file will be there when you get home. Thanks for watching. This is Ben with Minimalist Video Gamer.